I never meant for it to come out that way. It was supposed to be a harmless joke, one of those playful, offhand comments you make without thinking twice. But the moment I caught sight of Daniel's face across the dinner table, the laughter that had been bubbling up in my throat vanished instantly. His reaction was subtle. Too subtle. Just a slight tightening along his jaw, a pause in his hand mid-slice with the knife still pressed to the steak. His eyes never left me, and in that instant, I wished more than anything that I could snatch the words out of the air before they reached him. Wow. Looks like Ethan's been hitting the gym, I'd said with a teasing grin. Guess I should start working out too, or I might just run away with him. Everyone laughed. Even Ethan managed an awkward chuckle, but not Daniel. He smiled. A sharp, practiced kind of smile that didn't touch his eyes. The kind people wear when they're holding themselves together in front of others. And that night was the beginning of everything falling apart. When we got home, the silence was suffocating, heavy, almost tangible. I followed him into the kitchen, trying to break through the tension. "Hey," I said softly. "It was just a joke." Daniel placed his keys on the counter with calm precision. "Was it?" "Of course," I replied quickly. "You know I didn't mean anything by it." He turned, leaning against the counter with his arms crossed. His voice was steady, but there was a hollowness beneath it. "You've been talking about Ethan a lot lately. His job, his apartment, his sense of humor, even his dog. And now this," I frowned, feeling the sting of accusation. "Daniel, he's my friend. You've met him plenty of times. He's harmless." Daniel stared at me for a long moment before saying quietly, "Maybe he is. I'm not sure you are." Those words cut deeper than he could ever know. We'd been married 7 years. Not perfect, no marriage is, but solid, or so I thought. We had our routines. Sunday morning coffee runs, movie nights on Fridays, and his soft kiss on my forehead before work. But lately, he'd been distant, buried in his job, exhausted, withdrawn. I told myself it was a phase, that love had seasons. Then Ethan appeared. He was a coworker, charming, confident, effortlessly funny. The kind of man who made everyone feel noticed. We started as friends, sharing jokes and lunch breaks. It wasn't emotional cheating, not really. Not at first. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel something flutter every time he texted late at night or remembered my favorite coffee order. It was innocent, until it wasn't. After that dinner, Daniel grew quieter. He barely spoke, barely smiled. Then one night I came home and found him sitting in the living room, the blue light of his laptop reflecting off his face. His phone rested on the coffee table, his jaw clenched tight. "Hey," I greeted softly. "Long day?" He looked up, calm, too calm. "Who's calling you sunshine in your texts?" My heart stuttered. "What?" He turned his phone toward me. It was mine. A message from Ethan blinked across the screen. "Missed my sunshine today." The room tilted. Words refused to come. "I didn't mean to look," Daniel said quietly. "Your phone buzzed. I just saw the name." My knees weakened. "It's not what it looks like." "Then what is it?" "It's just friendly," I stammered. Ethan jokes like that with everyone. "You're overreacting." Daniel's gaze didn't waver. "Do you joke back?" I said nothing, and that silence was enough. That night, he slept on the couch. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, guilt clawing at my chest. Every message replayed in my head, the emojis, the inside jokes, the way I'd smiled at my phone like a love-struck teenager. I hadn't done anything physical. But emotionally, maybe I'd already crossed a line. The next morning, Daniel didn't say goodbye before work. His coffee mug sat untouched. The silence between us was colder than anger. I wanted to call him, to explain, but what could I say? That it didn't mean anything? That I just missed feeling seen? The truth was, I didn't even know why I'd let it happen. I loved Daniel, I always had. But somewhere between comfort and distance, I'd started craving the version of myself that felt alive again. The version Ethan seemed to notice so easily. But that craving was poison. 3 days later, Daniel came home early. His movements were deliberate, controlled. "We need to talk," he said. My stomach nodded. "Okay." He sat on the couch and slid a printed page toward me. When I looked down, my heart dropped. A transcript of my messages. How did you... You left your iCloud logged in, he said flatly. My chest tightened as I scanned the words. Flirty, familiar, too intimate. Things that once seemed harmless now felt like daggers on paper. How long has this been going on? He asked. It's not what you think, I whispered. Then tell me what I should think, Maya. His voice cracked, trembling with anger and pain. Tell me why my wife is calling another man handsome and saying she misses his smile. Tears blurred my vision. It was stupid, okay? I wasn't thinking. I felt lonely and he listened. That's all. It didn't mean anything. Daniel's jaw clenched. It meant something to me. Silence swallowed the room. I reached for his hand, but he pulled back like my touch burned him. I didn't cheat, I said desperately. I swear to you, Daniel. I never crossed that line, he laughed bitterly. You think betrayal only happens in bed sheets? Those words hit harder than any slap. He stood, pacing, voice shaking. I trusted you. I told my friends we were different, that you were the one thing in my life I never had to question. But maybe I was wrong. I broke completely. The next few days blurred into silence. Daniel moved into the guest room. We only spoke about bills and groceries, mechanical exchanges between two strangers sharing the same space. I deleted Ethan's number. Wrote Daniel a long letter full of regret and apology. He read it, folded it carefully, and said, I need time. So I waited. Weeks passed. Slowly, Daniel began speaking again. Small things at first. It wasn't forgiveness, but it was a beginning. Then one evening, he came home with a strange calm in his eyes. I met Ethan today, he said. My blood ran cold. You what? I asked him to meet me. I needed the truth. My hands shook. What did he say? He said nothing happened. That you stopped replying. That you told him it was a mistake. Tears welled in my eyes. Because it was. Daniel nodded slowly. I know, he exhaled, voice trembling. But knowing and forgiving aren't the same. That night, for the first time in weeks, he came back to our bedroom. He didn't touch me or speak much, just lay beside me. Both of us staring at the ceiling, our hands inches apart, our hearts still miles away. Do you still love me? I whispered. His reply was barely audible. I never stopped. And that's what broke me. Because I finally understood that love doesn't always mean things can be repaired. Months later, we were still trying. Therapy, raw conversation, slow healing. Sometimes Daniel would reach for my hand and hesitate. Sometimes I'd see pain flicker behind his smile and feel guilt rise all over again. We were learning to live with the ghost of my mistake, not erasing it, but facing it. Because betrayal isn't always about leaving. Sometimes it's about staying and confronting the wreckage you caused with open eyes. And when Daniel looks at me now, there's still love there. But also a question that never fades from his gaze, one that may never be answered. Can I ever truly trust you again? And that's the part that hurts the most.